Well, hello once again. I'm sitting here with my headset holding a sleeping child, and it's time for some more of those outtakes. I think the outtakes are probably one of the most important parts of this complete breakfast. It is breakfast time for me. I haven't had breakfast yet because I'm holding the sleeping child, but um, would you like to say hello? Oh, you're awake now, huh? Well, since he's awake, let's go on to the outtakes. We'll see you on the other side.
I mean, that is technically a question, so I can't.
It's probably because it's more vanity.
It's more vanity.
Yeah, I guess
it's like
that's
vanity plates.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
which are
vanity plates
completely
a way to
pointless.
put it.
I looked into getting vanity plates one time because I figured they can't really be like that, that expensive. They're really expensive.
Yeah.
And they serve no purpose. And
Other than making it easier for the cops to find you.
yeah, making it and I don't know, you just have expendable income and because nobody pays attention to your vanity.
No,
Like no. It is time for Vaguely Scientific. I that made me laugh a lot earlier, and I don't know.
It's not always toast.
It's not always toast, is all I'm saying. And eggs is any food.
All the whole time I was thinking of the thing from that one really awful Mario game where he's just like, all toasters toast toast.
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, it's there was this console that Philips put out, and they got the licenses to a few Nintendo games. That's what those like weird Zelda cartoon animation things are from.
Oh God, the CDI.
Yeah, the CDI.
Yeah.
And they did a Mario one, and the cutscene is like, I don't know, 45 electrical sockets all daisy chained together, and he's like, you know what they say, all toasters toast toast, and he plugs in a toaster and it all bursts into flames. I don't understand it, but that's what it reminded me of.
I found it.
Uh-oh. What? All your ducks in a row, yeah. Get all your chickens in a turnstile. Get all your hippos in a rocket. Yeah. Fire up your giraffe burners.
Okay. And I gave Jim all my lines this.
Oh, that's right.
Episode.
So I got to read all this then?
Just the introductions, and then I'll take over when we get to like the questions, because.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm reading the whole introduction then.
Yeah, because.
All right, because it's April Fool's.
Because it's April Fool's.
No one will be expecting that.
No one will. What, for Jim to do stuff?
I sure didn't.
That's rough. It's a rough.
I clearly did not read this well enough.
I should number them, but I just have to remember the numbers. Help me keep track of what number question we're on as we go.
Oh, jeez.
Ken.
That always works out so well in the past.
Yep. I should just record like question 1 this week, question 2 this week.
No, because then I'd have to edit that together, and I will not stand for this.
I mean,
okay.
it's
That
the
is something up with which I will not put.
For what it's worth, it's the April Fool's episode, so if you get it wrong, just act like it was on purpose.
Yeah, I will 100% claim to have meant to do any mistakes that I make, but I like to not make mistakes if possible. That's just my general approach to life.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get over that.
Gotta get it. Well, I meant to, and so I did. Or I didn't on purpose. I don't know.
One or the other.
Then, how do we decide who goes first?
Flip a 4-headed coin.
I don't have any D4s with me.
That's called a
Everybody,
die.
rock, paper, scissors on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
I picked rock.
I picked scissors.
I also picked rock.
I also picked scissors.
All right, so it's between you two.
For what it's worth, I still have never seen Justin, so
Oh.
I definitely could.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
at this point, it's like if Jeff Goldblum were Robin Hood. Because
But like,
Because
which
my-
Robin Hood though? It matters.
Carrie Elway's in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
The
Ah.
best
But
one.
with
Okay,
brown hair
got
instead
it.
of blonde.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was the last one?
Robert Ballard was a legitimate maritime archaeologist.
What was the first
Can
one?
you go through and do them all again? I was not prepared for this to be as specific as it was, so...
I made it unnecessarily difficult. I'm sorry. I just thought it'd be funny.
No, I'm about it. I just need to hear it again. I don't even touch space whenever I do this because I know that whatever I come up with, I know if I ever had a space fact that was true or not true rather that I made up, I know immediately Jim would be like, "Well, that's not true."
That's my new challenge: is find a lie about space that Jim thinks is true.
Oh.
We can do it.
Listeners, this is your task.
I do think the eyeball one is true.
Well, a Magnetar, that's a Pokemon, right?
Sure.
So that's the lie.
I think that's Magneton.
Oh, okay.
I think that it probably has something to do with, like knowing that if it tastes wrong or different, or if it tastes like something specific, because like the way that your body works is it'll flush out different types of toxins and things. So if there's something wrong with you, it'll change the way your pee tastes.
If you've got too much
flavored.
black bile, then
Okay.
Yeah, but like I think that there's probably something to that. There's probably something like they noticed at that point that like if your pee tastes too metallic, something is wrong with you. You have the plague or whatever.
great.
It's the most satisfying thing I've ever done as a homeowner. So,
It tops even owning a home. Huh?
Owning a home is the worst.
It's challenging.
It's
everything that the house does, you have to fix yourself.
Yeah.
Or you have to pay someone a lot of money to fix.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that right now, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
So
I just realized that I clearly am the only non-homeowner here, so not my problem.
yeah, good job adulting, Anne.
Listen, I'm a millennial. We've given up all hope of owning homes.
We're all millennials.
we're all millennials.
I'm not a millennial. I'm a millennial.
A centurion.
I'm a centurion.
To be fair, like everyone's a millennial. The gap for millennials is gigantic.
Yeah.
Comparatively,
It's
so
I am confused as to how no one has said spiders, but okay.
There are jumping spiders. That's true.
yeah.
And they
They
dangle
literally
from-
make their own.
they dangle from string and yeah,
No, it's too obvious.
So
that's too obvious.
I don't
This
know what's going on
artist
there.
should be fired from whatever job they have.
that man is a mess.
That's not what birch leaves look like. How dare you?
Even if his job is an electrical engineer, he still should be fired.
Oh yeah, I'm not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, man. Oh, we gotta move on.
We saw your picture on the internet, sir. You can't
demand-
work here anymore.
I demand you resign from whatever position you hold.
But I'm the CEO of Netflix. Too bad.
Oh boy. So he should listen to this episode and write in
Yeah.
and tell me
Yeah.
all about maritime archaeology. I would welcome that.
So I apologize for mine. They were unnecessarily difficult, but when you said fact or fiction, I immediately thought, people who have claimed fact or fiction.
I like it. I like it.
I got that one right, but similar to you, not because I knew the
Not
answer.
because-
So
Well, it's fair. We traded accidental correct points.
Nice. I mean, yeah, it has ammonia in it, and that's what they used.
Makes sense to me.
I washed my windows today with ammonia,
Oh, I thought you were going to say with P.
and I thought about it. I thought
six
about
of
it
one, half
while
dozen
I
the
was
other at
washing
this
my
point.
windows. I was like, it's interesting that I'm using ammonia because I'm recording this podcast later. Where then I had to go to the bathroom, and it was like, oh, it writes itself.
yeah, and then he got the cops called on him because his neighbor was like, he's going to the bathroom on his windows.
What's interesting about that is I almost did one of these relating to paleontology, and there's this thing called the Piltdown chicken.
Yes, I also found that.
Okay, so the idea was it was a fraud who discovered this thing, but they claimed that it was an evolutionary link or proof of an evolutionary link between modern day birds and dinosaurs. And when that person was discovered to be a fraud, they discounted a ton of other proof that birds are descended from dinosaurs because of that one example. So that's, again, the argument from fallacy, which I didn't expect to come up with again.
See, I did find that because all of mine were kind of like archaeology, paleontology themed, but that one wasn't like a specific person so much as like that discovery. So
Right. I just thought it was cool that I could bring up trivia I learned recently.
No, that's valid. But yeah, so
I mean, technically, the website is a WordPress. I don't know if that counts, but we don't really write on it, so no. I don't know.
it's just those the blurbs of summaries of the of each episode is the best blog.
It's like a video blog, like the vlog, but it's with audio. There should be a word for that.
Yeah,
Like
it's called a podcast.
Oh, that's a
So
dumb
this
name.
last one here comes to us from Best. Have y'all? I know the answer to this is no, but I'm just real into WandaVision. It's quite good.
Like, I'm so over the MCU. I can't. Like, I don't know.
I know what
That's
you
just
mean.
me. I know that's just me.
No, I'm like, I feel like it's gonna be really hard to care about whatever the next main arc is.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, I'm still like mildly interested if they can do something cool. Like,
Yeah.
I have not watched WandaVision yet, but it looks like something I would enjoy.
I probably would watch it, but I don't want to get even a free version of Disney Plus. I'm like, I hate it, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But also, like, the last one I watched was, it wasn't Infinity War. I watched Captain Marvel.
Mm.
But like, I never even cared enough to see Endgame.
Mm.
Like, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked, I mean, I enjoy a lot of them, which surprises me, honestly, because I didn't think I'd ever care about comics in the way that I kind of care about the MCU. But, like, I like that they've dialed it back down, where it's more, like, individual. It's not like, oh, we got to talk about, 16 different characters all at once. It's,
Right.
like, kind of nice that it's just them.
That's the biggest issue I have with it, I guess. But, like, because I like all the individual movies, but it's like, it's too much to follow. It gets too big. I think that summarized it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
What you said.
Yeah, like I said, I am excited for the individual parts. Like, I think the Spider-Man verse that they're thing they're planning to do. Like, I think I think that'll be fun to watch. Like, I'm excited for that.
I gotta say, I'm surprised that I care at all, because I'm not really into comics. Like, I'm into them sort of peripherally, but I'm like really invested, especially in just WandaVision. I'm like super invested in this. I've been watching it as it's come out, which is weird for me.
I've always liked comic book characters, but never really like following the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've pretty much never read a comic book. Like, my knowledge.
I've read a lot, but I kind of came to the realization that like I don't actually enjoy following comics.
Yeah.
So I stopped reading them, but I still like I enjoy the self-contained stories of individual characters more than I enjoy like following, what's the Justice League up to now? Like, I couldn't care less.
What's old Justice League getting themselves up to lately?
It looks like the Justice League are in trouble again.
I bet the Joker is up to no good.
Oh, if only they could just go on their scheduled company picnic instead of having to deal with Darkseid again.
Although this is going to be super awkward, but I thought I had a sneeze coming for a second there, but then it went away.
I hate that. Like, as soon as I start thinking about it, and then it goes away.
I was about to say we can get this right out of the way and then start, but then it went away.
I honestly think, there's no secret that like I cough all the time when we're recording, but like I honestly think my cough gets worse just when we're recording because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean to get sidetracked, but I just had the thought within the last like few weeks, I was like, I'm pretty sure I used to cough a lot more often. And I'm like, I just don't feel like I do that anymore. And then Carly was like, maybe there was like mold in your old apartment. And I was like,
Oh.
I feel like that would make sense.
Well, the other thing is humidity. If it's really dry, then you can have a cough. So
Yeah, I have the problem with it being dry.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so maybe your apartment was just like 10% humidity. It just
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
That's how my house is because it's 100 years old. It just soaks moisture up. I don't know where it goes.
It was just weird to think about, like, oh yeah, I did used to cough a lot more.
Okay, I'm gonna get started then.
Sure.
And as always, if anything goes wrong, scream and panic.
Okay.
Cool.
Are we gonna do our sinking clap?
Oh, we forgot about
Oh,
that.
This is the episode. It
This is-
started.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is
we're
what-
already in it.
We're
It's be-
already in it.
Oh,
It's because it's been a while.
Oh wait, I can't curse. Beat that.
You can throw beeps in there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Great.
So I'm going to do the lead-in, and I'm going to introduce us. I tried to do internet memes for all the introductions, but I'm not good at internet memes.
So they're internet memes from like 2006.
Basically, yeah.
Great.
You can see how up to date my cultural conscience.
Can has
consciousness
cheeseburger.
is. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that one.
You're
I
welcome.
should put that one in there. Okay.
I don't know what that's a reference to.
It's a dumb YouTube video.
What?
Oh, it is?
Jim?
It's
I don't. All the memes I know are from like when I was in middle school.
I'm gonna send you some
Allie,
links.
you find it, you send it to Jim.
Yeah.
All right.
I know all your baser belong to us, and that's about it.
I have that on
you're
a
even
t-shirt.
less. You're even less in the loop than I am.
Oh, hey, my alarm's going off to remind me to record this podcast.
Oh, I should make sure mine doesn't do that. Also.
Oh boy.
We've got one intro done, and here we are.
That's better than
Yeah.
we usually do.
It's true. We're actually into the episode now.
Yeah.
Like, we're not usually that far. I just have to keep clearing my throat.
It's that orange.
It's that orange, I'm telling you. Well, while you look that,
My keyboard's on the floor. I'm not doing that.
that's fine.
Why?
Why is your keyboard on the floor?
There's too many questions. We gotta go.
Jim's been learning to type with his feet lately.
Ew,
Oh, I hate that.
Derek,
No.
continue with the episode, please.
What's the next thing? Oh, speaking of stuff that we got. Nah, we didn't. I can't just start. Okay.
You guys,
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
you guys watch the new Invisible Man movie?
No.
I didn't. I wanted to though because it came out right after we talked about like updating the Invisible Man on this show. I don't know if it was any good.
I saw it. It definitely has some heavy topics in it.
Okay.
But
I kind of know the gist of what it's about.
but it was very good, I thought, and very scary in a good way. Like a suspenseful
Okay.
scare. I don't like jump scary movies.
Sure,
It was like
sure.
very suspenseful, and you like sympathize with the protagonist in her plight.
That's good. That was on my list because of. I mean, I like the old Universal horror movies, and so I want to see all the remake-ish things of them. But I knew, so I don't know. I haven't heard a review of that one, so that's interesting, and I will have to remember to watch it.
I enjoyed it. I am not a connoisseur of horror movies, but that was a good one.
I agree with you that I don't like jump scares. I like more atmospheric horror, and I am mostly fortunate in the fact that like all the quote unquote professional emails I have to send are to like theater people. And in most cases, and don't come at me if you're like a legalese person or a staff writer or whatever, but like in most cases, in my experience, being more conversational with people is like okay. I would hate it if I had to be in like an office situation where I was just like everything I have to say is mechanical, and I'd be so bad at it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I also do think it's interesting, since you brought up sort of the way language has evolved on the internet, just sort of the way that what I type has changed over the years. Because for the longest time, for emphasis, I could just capitalize something. But now, sort of internet technology's caught up where when it's appropriate, I can italicize something or make it bold. And I think it's kind of neat that the internet itself changing how you can format text also changes the way that we can communicate with each other. And it can make a little bit more nuance, I think, because sometimes if you like capitalize a whole word, somebody else might think it's aggressive, or somebody else might just think, oh, it's for emphasis, and it's hard to. But if you specifically hit the italics key or whatever, and make the word italics. Yeah, I love using italicized words now.
Because italicized words also mean I can now use quotation marks the correct way. Because it was either capitalize the whole word or put quotation marks around it, and then you don't know if they're saying it facetiously.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, make sure you get there tonight, quote unquote, tonight. And then you're like, is he specifying tonight, or is it like, oh, I can show up whenever I want? And that's just like, I don't know. That was a weird example, I guess, but.
I get it, though.
Is it tonight, or is it figuratively tonight?
Is it figuratively literal or literally figurative?
Oh, no.
Actually, that reminds me of something really interesting. Oops.
There goes the keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the keyboard was on the floor.
Oh.
Right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jim, with that. That was like
Which thing?
The anticlimactic joke.
Oh, no, that's okay.
It wasn't in response to what you were saying. It was just a thing I thought of.
You just hate naked football is all.
I just hate naked football.
I definitely hate naked football.
I extremely hate naked football.
All right, let me pull up show notes.
Derek, do you want to talk more about naked football?
No, but what I would like to talk more about is Arbor Day.
Oh.
I don't know if that transition's going to work.
I was going to probably cut the naked football stuff. So.
That's why I don't think that transition's going to work.
It will end up in Outtakes, but it's not going to end up in this episode.
Okay.
All right, let me come up with another segue then. Somebody asked me if I'd like to talk more about invisible people, I guess.
You want to talk about trees?
It kind of looks like a hermit crab.
Yeah, but this little guy's just a rocky hermit crab.
I almost literally just almost accidentally said it looks like a Kermit frog.
It does kind of look like a Kermit frog, though. He's got that little mouth. If I remember correctly, I'm not a herpetologist.
Is that a snake person?
That's a reptile person.
It's a reptile person, okay. An arachnodoctor is a spider person.
Yeah.
Arachnodoctor?
Arachnodoctors.
Is it really, or are you messing
No.
It's
I can't tell.
It's
No,
an
that one's a lie.
arachnologist.
An arachnologist. Okay.
But we said arachnodoctor is better.
It is, you're right. I apologize.
Oh boy.
Did you break your microphone, Jim?
No, that was my mouse falling to the floor, unfortunately, right before my clap. So I'll just have to listen to it and pick out the correct audio spike because they look identical.
Do you want us to do it again?
Nah, it's fine because I'll listen to it and.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have seen scattered episodes of The Next Generation when I was growing up, but when I actually sat down and tried to watch it, I never got through the first season.
That's because Record didn't have his beard yet.
And I know, and people have told me.
Do yourself a favor and watch the show.
I like Data. Data's cool.
Data's a blast.
Yeah. I watched 2 or 3 episodes of Enterprise, and the 2 or 3 episodes I saw gave me the impression that it was like almost just sort of self-referential to the other series that were out there. I think I just picked some bad episodes to watch. Because it was just the episode where they found a Borg in a glacier, and then the Borg did Borg stuff. And I'm like, but wouldn't they know about the Borg then?
Right. Yeah, it raises some questions. It answers a few others that maybe didn't need to be answered, but it's a fun show.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like Solo, the movie, right?
Oh yeah.
It answers a bunch of questions that nobody asked.
Yeah. The thing I'm super intrigued by is that I think, because I've read a couple Stephen King books, mostly things that are not strictly horror, but I guess that in The Dark Tower there's a villain that shows up that is from this book that he wrote called Eyes of the Dragon. And I think it's really cool because I don't know the exact details because I've only read Eyes of the Dragon. I haven't read The Dark Tower, but it like accounts for when this villain goes missing, and it explains his whereabouts during that time because he's in this world doing bad things there, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's Randall Flagg.
Yeah.
And he is also the big bad in The Stand.
Oh,
yeah.
I am familiar with The Stand. I know it explains more about like the turtle and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that it makes all the stuff that he writes in it about the turtle and all this other stuff make a lot more sense in the long run.
Yeah, it's like a big multiverse thing, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love that. Someone has even written a companion book that helps tie all the stuff together and act as a kind of compendium of all of the different things of the world.
God,
That's awesome.
I'm just such a slow reader. I need to read. It takes me forever.
I feel like there's one. I remember there's some word that commonly comes up for this as this exact same structure, and I'm drawing a blank on what it is right now. So if I have a word Yelp later in the show, that's probably why.
That's fair.
Maths.
Maths
is just fun.
I love
not
maths.
Exactly
I like
the same.
maths.
Is mathematics? Mathematics isn't plural, so maths shouldn't be plural either. It should be math.
It has. You just said it. Mathematics.
Yeah, that just
That's
ends
plural.
in an S.
Well,
That
that's
just
what
ends
the-
in a.
But it's,
I don't think
there
it's
is no
multiple-
singular mathematic.
Yeah, I think it's just mathematics
Huh.
is a singular. I could be wrong though. That's just what I think.
Like, I think mathematic is an adjective, but there's not like a noun mathematic.
Yeah, because like a mathematic. Well, isn't mathematical the adjective form?
I think they both could be.
This is not a grammar podcast. We should move on.
Yeah.
Especially not before I've done a little bit of research to remember all the dumb rules. Oh, man.
That's a social science, and that's dangerous territory right there.
Okay, well, let me tell you this story about Chewbacca.
About how your life got turned upside down.
Yeah. In West Philadelphia, outside of the school, I was shooting some b-ball.
I thought you were going to say shooting some blasters.
I think I got
I
the lyrics
did too.
backwards in that one. I was hanging out with my boy Chewbacca, and he. Okay, I'm gonna get back on track here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get right
back.
Okay. All right. We can talk about similar things on both of them, so I tried, at least on my notes, not to.
Oh. I definitely embrace the fact that I think these two questions are inextricably linked.
That works. Everybody does it their own way. There is not a wrong way to do it. When I say the way I did it, it's just like in the hopes that someone else did it a different way.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's the episode.
And it's recorded. We're good.
And
Talk to
it's
you later.
recorded. Bye, everybody. Okay. Are we good?
I think so.
Certainly hope so.
All right. I certainly hope so. It can only get worse from here. In the medieval age.
Yeah.
Middle Ages. Medieval times.
Oh,
Whatever
that
you
restaurant.
want to call it. From someone who comes from, and I'm surprised, I guess Anne brought it up, but I didn't bring up a background in stage magic this episode yet.
I really expected you to.
I was sure I was going to eventually. You just beat me to it. But as someone who has a background in stage magic and literature and folklore and all the things that I just gush about every time we record this show, I look at tarot cards as there's so many artistic things about them and so many historical things that I just find fascinating about them.
Yeah, well, tarot has a very interesting history. Again, they're also very closely tied to the Roma people because, like, originally it's like Tarotti or something. It wasn't just a card game in Italy. Like just you know, like a play, you know, you play with cards.
That's where playing cards came from.
Yeah. And then like, you know, the early like Roma people started using them for divination, and then it kind of grew separately from there. Like when we think of tarot cards, like it's the Rider-Waite deck is like the iconic, everybody knows that art. You know, like the traditional symbols that actually didn't show up until like, you know, modern era, so to speak, with like Aleister Crowley and
Right.
He didn't commission the Rider-Waite deck. He commissioned the Thoth deck, or I didn't do enough homework. But it's like the Rider-Waite deck imagery is relatively new. This is irrelevant. I'm just joking.
That's
I'm sorry.
But I mean, the
Don't
reason
include this.
Oh, I was gonna say it was interesting that you brought up that you know, they were originally playing cards, because a lot of psychic readings or fortune tellings in history have used games because there's an element of randomness to it.
Yeah.
And so like dice or casting bones, those are all things that just, like, there's nothing inherently supernatural about those acts, but people took them and said, oh, we can use these.
Well, I don't know if you guys did this, because at least in my growing up, it was mostly the girls that did those little foldy fortune teller thing.
Yeah. Kitty catcher, fortune. Yeah.
Those are cute.
Like, it's kind of the same thing.
I never learned how to make those, and I am still mad
I knew
about
it one time.
Oh, they're so easy. I could make one right now. I made so many in my youth.
No, rub it in. Why don't you?
I will teach you at some point when we're not on a boat.
I got
apparently.
It's beautiful, and I got it because it's beautiful, not because it's a fortune-telling tool. But I have this, it's like a jar of 50, they're functionally popsicle sticks with numbers on them. And it's like this amazing, like, Chinese art and everything. And you open it up and you pull a stick and you look at the number, and there's a book that tells you what your fortune's going to be that day. And yeah, you're right. It's just a random, like, here's what you pull, and here's what your fortune's going to be.
Well,
and
yeah. I mean, numerology is a whole other category of that. Like, there's...
Oh, that's true, yeah.
You know, like, letters are assigned numbers. Like, you can figure out your fortune based on, like, what number your name adds up to. Like, you know...
Nostradamus used that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of what I guess would be classified as, like, divination tools in the world, and they all kind of do different things. Like, there's stuff like, you know, the runes and what you're describing, Jim, and, like, tarot cards and stuff that are like, okay, these have to be in a certain order, but then there's also stuff like crystal balls and, like, scrying dishes and, like, staring into a flame, which is basically a form of meditation where you just kind of fixate on something and, like, see what images you can see and interpret from there. Tea leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how to read tea leaves, because I drink a lot of tea and I have a lot of leaves, and I just, like, look at the bottom of the cup and I'm like, there's something here probably.
You just got to get better at improv.
Yeah. One time, I think it was when I was over with you and Dave, I drank tea and there were a bunch of leaves and I was like, I see a flaming skull down here, and I showed it to Dave. He's like, yeah, you do. And we were both like, why is there a flaming skull on my tea leaves?
That's a question for Google.
And then Andy's house burned down.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. That was probably not at all.
No, there were a few years between those two events. Andy's skull wasn't on fire as far as I know.
Not recently.
No.
Christopher Columbus was a noted egotist, but, like, also wizard, I guess.
Well, look at Uri Geller or John Edward.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have a lot against people who are psychic frauds and try to, like, get stuff from people.
Yeah. Made them stop making Kadabra Pokemon cards, Uri Geller. Jerk.
I don't know about, like, psychic frauds, but it might comfort you to know that in the course of my research I discovered that I was looking at just like people who have been considered wizards in history, hence I got the list. But there's a 13th century person named Michael Scott, 1T, who was astrologer to the Holy Roman Empire, and Dante, when he wrote his Inferno, chose him specifically as the example of the level of hell that is specifically for wizards.
Oh,
I knew that. And,
so,
yep. It's similar. South Park did an entire episode on John Edward and how he is, just a horrible, horrible man. So that people calling these people out in history is not a new thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. That was my cliffhanger there.
I see it says cliffhanger. Ooh.
I wrote cliffhanger. Ooh.
Cliffhanger. Woo. Every day we're out here making cliffhangers. Woo.
All right.
Tales of daring, do bad, and good luck tales. Woo. That are cliffhangers. What?
I apparently don't know what the DuckTales theme song sounds like, because I thought you were saying "a woo" like Werewolves of London.
Oh.
Woo. Cliffhangers of London.
Every day they're out there becoming
werewolves of London. Okay.
David
so
Tennant.
now you can go ahead and stop here.
Oh, the ships are full of werewolves, and then you can finally do your werewolf episode.
It's very charitable for them to let us keep our recording equipment.
Well, they turn out to be good guys, but that's spoilers.
Oh, okay. I forget. Are Frodo and Bilbo related? I feel like they are.
Yes.
Yes.
I can figure it out exactly if you're really interested, but yes, they are related.
Cool.
Bilbo's Frodo's uncle, isn't he?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or somehow a cousin. Let me actually look that up.
That's what I was going to look it up.
That is something somebody will yell at us about.
Cousin.
Cousin. So cousin can mean
a lot, but
kinsman of some kind. But they are both Baggins.
But they are actually Bagginsons. Baggins.
Look at that Baggin.
Bagginses.
Is that part of the Rankin Bass cinematic universe?
Rankin Bass did The Hobbit and The Return of the King.
That makes me so angry.
To pay homage to Ralph Bakshi, who only did the first one and a half of the Lord of the Rings trilogy as his animated feature and never got to finish it.
Oh, okay.
That and then Rudolph comes along and
makes you less angry.
Because I just thought they did the beginning and the end of Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, and it's like, why did you not do the middle?
Oh, yeah. So at the time, this is super tangential, but also a testament to animation, so I'm going to say it. Lord of the Rings took a very long time to adapt into a film, and now everyone, of course, is familiar with Peter Jackson, but the scope of the epic scope of the Lord of the Rings was always seen in the film industry as impossible to portray on screen.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah, and it was Ralph Bakshi who, look him up, you'll have a fun time. It's a weird rabbit hole to go down to look at Ralph Bakshi's work, but he was an animator who said, I can do this. I can use animation and rotoscoping and all the things that he used in that to finally make a cinematic version of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And this was an unheard of spectacle. And he got into the Two Towers. If anyone who has seen the Bakshi version of Lord of the Rings, you know that it's the first half of the trilogy. And then it just kind of ends. And he, I believe, died before he was able to work on the rest of it. Oh. And Rankin Bass, I'm not sure if The Hobbit already had come out, but Rankin Bass, who did The Hobbit, decided we're going to do Return of the King to finish Bakshi's work.
Oh, wow.
They had to do it in their own style, so,
Yeah.
So, on a side note, since I just opened the Wikipedia page for that Lord of the Rings, do you know who did the screenplay for Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings?
I'm going to feel dumb when you tell me.
Peter S. Spiegel.
Yes!
Oh, wow.
Oh, and I I didn't bring up in the last question. I was gonna bring up a whole comparison to the loss of innocence and the development of regret, and I was gonna bring up The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, and now I really wish I had.
Y'all in the audience folks, you should send us some Last Unicorn questions.
Last Unicorn, for anyone who doesn't know this, I feel like I may have briefly mentioned it a long time ago. The Last Unicorn is my favorite book of all time, so I would love to talk about it on this show.
I should really read it. I remember watching the movie years and years ago and being terrified of the King Hagar.
Yeah, it's wild. I watched it as an adult, and it was like really riveting.
Yeah.
What was our question?
Right, back to Smog.
He's pretty handsome with his curly hair and his I don't know, breakfast
and his hairy feet. Hobbits have hairy feet. That's it.
Yeah, I read about that today. I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't really? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Is it that Christopher Lee was also in Star Wars, and that's just really cool?
Christopher Lee was amazing in everything that he was in.
It's true.
Christopher Lee was also King Haggard in the animated Last Unicorn.
Yeah, he was a James Bond villain.
And he's been a James Bond villain.
He's also done Italian power metal. He was a wizard in that.
Let's not talk about that one. Or no, did you see I Shed the Blood of the Saxon Men? Have you ever seen that?
That's not
music video.
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch it. Do your.
But now I want to.
It's so bad. Christopher Lee's great.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is bad.
I mean, the James Bond movie that he's in is not good, but he is very good in it.
That's fair. Christopher Lee was not the rant I was going to rant. So have fun figuring out how to edit this, Jim. That's my rant.
Catorce is my favorite Spanish word.
Catorce. There's a song, I don't remember what song it is, but it drives me crazy because it opens with the drummer counting off uno, dos, tres, catorce.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not 4.
That came up on Whitney's Spotify playlist the other day, and I was like, but wait a minute, that's not 4.
I don't remember what song that is. I hate that song just because of that.
Yeah. Is that an Offspring song?
I don't even
I'm
know.
going to have to ask her when I go back down.
Let me know, because
you'll need to know not to listen to it ever again.
Yep. I'll listen to like a cover of it or something where they just don't start it that way. I don't know. Sorry, we're off track.
That was a separate rant.
That was a separate rant. These are all just fantastic outtakes, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, Jonathan. Thanks for being on the show.
I'm fine.
Okay. There's gonna be a twist ending at the end of the season.
Ooh. Is the twist ending that we all get killed and season 4 is us as robots?
Well, I don't know. It might be even in the next episode. The twist is gonna be that at the end of season 2, when we came back from like Pangea or wherever we were and went to our underwater laboratory in Atlantis, we never actually quite made it back to the present.
Oh.
It's a super complicated through line that I'm trying to convey in
Valbara.
one sentence at a time. Valbara, yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Everyone did.
We'll have to do a second. We'll have to do a second story so far thing.
Yeah, I just need to at this point I need to go back and actually listen to every episode since then, and I just keep putting it off.
Yeah.
Okay, can I propose one other question?
Sure.
Sure.
Related back to what we were talking about at the beginning, if your thoughts were constantly being auto-transcribed. So before, we were talking about if this was available to yourselves. I'm wondering, what if in this scenario these auto-transcribed thoughts were available to anyone? Anyone could download your thoughts from any point in time and have no privacy. What would our society look like?
Isn't that called being doxxed?
What would our society look like? Well,
George Orwell, I think.
Yeah. I think it'd be complicated. I think it would be, well, either that or it would be refreshing because you'd never have to worry about trying to make someone happy because they'd automatically know that it wasn't going to happen. And so it'd just be like there would be less anxiety, I think.
So it also kind of ties into the idea that, like, so not all our thoughts are literal language. And I know some people, there have been studies on this, that some people kind of have less of an internal monologue and more just like abstract thoughts.
Yeah.
So like if you had a transcript of the literal words that you think, I think that would be hugely troublesome because much like if you're just speaking, like context and intention matter.
Yeah.
And if you had, like, unfiltered the literal words that you are thinking, you still wouldn't always necessarily have, like, context or what you really intended to say with it. And, you'd have a lot of people thinking probably offensive and insulting things and not even meaning them in their own mind.
Yeah.
That's very true. And in fact, I do like some stream of consciousness, like journaling sometimes. And what I found, you know, as I'm just like kind of going along and writing and I like glance back at what I'm written of like, if somebody were to read this, it would look absolutely nuts. And like, you don't know like who the she is I'm referring to. And if it's like one person, you know, it could be like whatever. But if it's another person that I'm referring to in the she, it could be like incredibly terrible. So
listeners, if we can, we'll put Catherine's stream of consciousness journaling in the show notes.
Then you can really read a person.
Yeah, that would be a disaster.
And then a theme song happens here.
It's funny because I actually read that chunk of text and then I didn't read the second chunk of text, so there's that. So I didn't actually know about the fact that he was going to be the captain.
Oh, okay. I feel like I had to tell Adam that because I didn't just like thrust him into a role.
Right.
I don't know.
I appreciate that.
Most people, when we do this improv introduction thing, they just kind of go like, yeah, sure.
Hi, I'm here.
Derek has entirely too much fun and leaves everyone out of the loop.
But not this time.
There's one last thing on this topic that I have in my notes. A few episodes back, I said I wanted to look up how a chameleon's skin changes color, and I thought, I thought I will share with you the fruits of my research because it seemed vaguely relevant. So, yeah. So what I learned is that it is a common misconception that chameleons do this to camouflage themselves against a background. And in fact, chameleons mostly change color to regulate their temperature or to signal to other chameleons whether they are aggressive or in the mood to mate or whatever. So the way that this works is that the outermost layer of the chameleon's skin is actually transparent, and beneath that are several more layers of skin that each contain a different specialized cell or a different specialized chromatophore with different pigments, and they're able to contract and stretch the different layers of their skin to merge these different colors together and create different patterns. And they do this to like either absorb more light to warm themselves up because they're cold-blooded, or to warn enemies or other hostile chameleons that like you don't want to mess with me. The last thing I guess is it is worth noting that there is another animal that does use color-changing skin cells to camouflage itself, and that animal is the cuttlefish.
It's so cuddly.
Or as some of us like to call it, the cuttlefish.
That
I thought of that today and thought it was funny. I apologize.
I mean, it tracks. Now we just have to do it.
The Ursa major bears versus the Camella pardalis giraffes.
Yeah.
In a ballpark. That's the joke I was going for. Whether you think that's better or worse, I don't know.
You know what I always thought was really odd? I was just thinking about the left-handed scissors in elementary school, because the left-handed scissors had the cool, like, rubber on the rings to show you they were the left-handed scissors, and the regular ones just had metal rings for the grip. And I'm like, I want the cool rubber on mine so that I don't hurt my hands on the metal. Like, geez.
Well, that's because those are the normal ones, right? Like,
so it's normal for me to have to deal with the crappy, just pure metal grip that will like dig into my thumb as I'm cutting through a piece of cardboard. Whereas the left-handed kids get the cool rubber to protect their thumb. Honestly,
yeah,
that's another way that being a left-handed person is better.
Well, they have it so easy. They get to use the nice scissors in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Isn't that I guess that's not really the direction that they went, but I always, because I never used to read Thor comics, it was kind of pitched to me that it turned out all these things we believed were magic were actually just like on a different planet, and I was like, oh, so it's like sci-fi, right? And it's not. It's just magic exists on other planets. That's
yeah. Yeah, kind of like Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were talking about the show or just like the thing.
Yeah, both.
Literal aliens from... The explanation is that it is Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Man. Oh boy.
Let's do an episode.
Let's do it. I'm gonna start, and we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna mute myself. Goodbye. Gross.
Not as gross as most of the stuff I was researching for this one.
What the hell were you researching?
Oh, I'm not even. I'll tell you when we're not recording anymore. I don't want to.
You don't even want it on the record.
What
I don't want it on the record.
It's dark places of the internet did you go today?
To be fair, to be completely fair, the reason I'm not gonna bring most of this stuff up is more because I don't really understand it super well.
Okay.
But I was looking up some things that I didn't like.
Okay.
Are we going into like, is this centaur territory or is this mythology territory? I mean, I could see both.
So the gross stuff from mythology, I'm definitely bringing up.
Yeah,
but the it's more biology stuff. I mean, I can tell you, I don't know enough about this, but essentially, I learned that in 2017. The very first pig-human embryo was created.
Huh.
And I was like, I don't want to read this.
And that feels like we're toying with some stuff that we shouldn't be. Kind of.
So that's like, I feel like if I were to investigate it, it might become less gross than I think, but
Probably.
because I don't understand it, so I don't really even want to bring it up.
What you didn't get to was the aspect where Al Gore then funded them to put
here we go.
And there were bears involved.
Yeah, bear embryo into it. And then you have an embryo that is part man, part bear.
Yeah.
Part pig. I guess
Man, bear, pig is real.
half man, half bear, half pig.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that's...
Oh, I stopped listening to you. I'm sorry. Just delete this, Jim.
I'm gonna.
I'm gonna go ahead and
that's
delete
what you look for
that comment right there. And there's no one that can prove it happened. Let's
true.
continue with
Except
the
for Craig.
episode.
It will be deleted, stricken
Craig!
from the record.
I want to...
That's what you want in a podcast guest, right? Is someone who doesn't listen to you, so they can't contribute to the conversation.
I feel a little attacked. I gotta be honest.
I'm sorry.
Oh well, don't worry. Allie was planning on contributing. She just wasn't going to listen to what you had to say beforehand.
Right.
Well, the problem is, I feel like then Allie and I are probably going to end up saying a lot of the same things because we tend to have similar background knowledges. So
I'm listening now. I closed out of Twitter.
You know what, Jim? Grab it from Craig. Put it in there. Make it a
Yeah.
t-shirt.
No.
I'm sorry. I wasn't listening to you.
It's just a Word file on the internet.
Yep.
It has a QR code on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know why we haven't made pins yet, but that's a perfect pin.
You know,
I'm sorry I wasn't listening.
They don't make pins on that threadless store. I'm sort of surprised.
It's probably more work.
Yeah.
They make magnets.
That's true. They do make magnets. We can make magnets of that.
Derek, what's a question?
I'm going to start this whole thing over.
Good idea.
The whole episode.
No.
Take two.
I haven't used the expression "kirking it up" since college, and I don't know why.
I blame J.J. Abrams.
Oh, well, so no, because like Chris Pine is Kirk in that, and Chris Pine kirks it up in that. He's like Star-Lord in that movie.
Yeah.
He's very Kirky. He's actually better because like he is significantly more sympathetic than Shatner ever was.
That's true.
Well, weren't those outtakes magical, mystical, and just fantastic? I mean, season 3 was just such a season, you know? And as always, if you have a question that needs to be answered in a vaguely scientific manner, you can email us at questions@vaguelyscientific.com. If you want to get our episodes the minute that they're released, you can check out Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. I think we're on some Amazon service or some other such and such. And the most important thing you really can do for us right now is tell your friends, because telling your friends spreads the word. So come on back for some more regular episodes. Come on back for some more outtakes, probably in another 6 months or so. And enjoy your time here with Vaguely Scientific.